Tupelo. It's very faint, very subtle, but you can see these low-level clouds, these little lighter looking clouds that are displaying what looks to be some sort of funnel cloud appearance at this point. So we will continue to follow this situation right now. It's 1:15. You are under a tornado warning in the city of Tupelo. And we definitely have something happening here at the very lowest levels here. So we're being blocked by some of these trees, but it looks like we do have a funnel cloud trying to establish itself here on the ground.
Yeah, there's something going on there, Keith, and it may be that it's some sort of gustnado there or something.
Yeah,
but there's certainly some circulation very, very close to the ground with this thing. So
Oh, sorry to cut you off, Alex. I was just going to say that the nature of the beast for these kind of tornadoes is that they're going to be quick. They won't last too long. So this is a ragged appearance of what may be trying to develop. And so this is what we're going to get.
Yeah, and that may be the best view we get all day of anything, unfortunately. And as we've said, you know, it's hard for us to see. And Skycam going a little wonky on us there, so we try to pan it a little bit further to left. We'll see if I can get it to go back to the right just a little bit, trying to get this thing centered up where we want it. Again, some concerning views there from the Skycam. If you're watching us, this is now north of downtown. So we're looking back off to the north. This looks like it's crossed I-22, Highway 78, moving towards Beach Springs. If you're watching us over in Beach Springs, you need to be in your safe place. And ultimately, Frog Island, Saltillo, you need to be starting to think about getting in your safe place as well. We've seen some rotation there starting to spin around on the Skycam. We've seen the rotation there on the radar, and we're also watching a very tight circulation northwest of Mantachie as well. That's going to be moving over towards Ratliff, sort of straddling or just to the east of State Highway 363, moving towards Ratliff right now. So if you're watching us in Ratliff, Unity, back off towards Chapelville and Pratt, you need to get in your safe place right now because that circulation looks just as good, if not better, than the circulation moving north of Tupelo right now.
Let's pop links. Let's go back to links 2 with Alex real quick. Let's pop up that radar display. And Alex, just keep describing that. I'm going to move our camera around a little bit here.
All right. And again, the circulation I'm talking about there, this is north and west of Mantachie, moving off towards Ratliff and Unity. So if this is going to be moving sort of along State Highway 363 there, ultimately it'll be crossing the Natchez Trace Parkway somewhere near the Lee County line. So we'll be continuing to watch that cell as well. We're watching that cell that just moved north of Tupelo, but as it moves further and further away from Tupelo, we're not going to have as good a view of it at this point, but still a strong circulation there near the community of Beach Springs, right along Highway 45, moving off to the north-northwest. So this is crossing the Natchez Trace here within a matter of seconds, if it's not already. Crossing State Highway 145 towards Birmingham Ridge Road, and then ultimately, if you're watching us in Mount Vernon, Frog Island, Saltillo, Birmingham, Jug Fork, you need to be in a safe place right now as this circulation continues to move off to the north and west. Again, you can see that circulation right there. I'm going to pop the shear rate on. And again, you see that those reds popping up. These are two of, quite frankly, the best circulations we've seen all day. Again, you see that circulation popping up right on Highway 45. That's moving towards Beach Springs right now. The other circulation, actually, we've got a shear marker popping up on that one.
That's the first time we've had that all day long.
Yeah, first time we've had one of those all day long. So I'm going to pop the skid on it, and it's going the wrong direction, but we'll pop it on and see what we get there. BTI, Barron Tornado Index of 3.6. So usually above about a 2 or a 3, we start to get a little bit more concerned. So a pretty strong indication there that we've got something going on. Again, you can ignore those times. Let's see if I can pop those off onto the left. But the BTI of 3.6, certainly an indication that something is going on with that as well. And again, we don't have a view of that one from our Skycam at Tupelo. It's a little bit too far away to see, but a pretty tight circulation there. We'll go back to the reflectivity, and I'm going to clear some of this stuff off if I can.
And let's go back real quick to our other system real quick and show you the Skycam view from downtown Tupelo. We're looking basically north and towards that storm cell that has been moving through Tupelo. I'm going to widen this out just a little bit so you can gain a little bit more perspective. I guess we're looking back to the north, maybe slightly northwest of due north, but that's the back edge of this activity that has prompted this warning. We have been watching these swirls underneath the backside of this, and there's been some enhanced rotation on the backside of some of this stuff. I don't know if it was scud or if it was a weak funnel trying to form, but that's the back edge of what's going on here in Tupelo right now. So that is our current situation. Joey's walking in here, and he's going to chime in with some additional information as soon as he gets his microphone established here. And but right now we have tornado warnings in Tupelo. Let's go back to our radar imagery and show you where we have that other stuff ongoing over towards Mantasha, where we actually do have a low-level shear lock right now.
That's right. That's going to be right there in western Itawamba County. And I'm actually going to take it off. I'm looking at a different product here right now. I was looking to see if we had any sort of debris signatures popping up. We don't. But this is a very impressive circulation right now in western Itawamba County near Ratliff, moving off to the north and northwest. This is going to be headed towards Chapelville here within a matter of minutes. So if you're watching us in Ratliff, Chapelville, you need to be in a safe place right now. Very strong circulation there. Again, we'll go back over to the reflectivity. You see the hook echo showing up there as well. So this really looking more like a springtime supercell than we would typically expect. I'm going to pop the shear marker off there, get a better view of this thing. But again, you see that hook echo there popping up over towards Ratliff, Bunch Lake roads where it's showing up on the radar. But again, could be a little bit displaced. That's how the radar works sometimes. But again, you see a strong rotation associated with that as well. Also a strong rotation with this cell that just moved through Tupelo, which may or may not have had a tornado touchdown there. It's looked pretty close on our Skycam just a few minutes ago. This is approaching the western side of Saltillo. So if you watch us on the west side of town there on Saltillo, you need to get in a safe place right now. This is going to cross sort of between downtown Saltillo and the community of Frog Island and ultimately head over towards Birmingham. They continued to Lee County? They did do that, so the Itawamba-Lee County storm is going to continue.
And Joey, real quick, what did you got?
Yes,
what do you have?
Good news out of Tupelo. I just spoke with the city spokesperson. Nothing to report there as far as a touchdown or damage being reported inside the city of Tupelo right now.
So that's good. So hopefully we didn't get any damage from that. Again, some very, very low rotation showing up on the Skycam. We did not. At this point, we have no report of a touchdown at Tupelo, so some good news there, but still the potential of this thing could touch down at any minute as it moves through Saltillo toward Frog Island, Birmingham, and Jug Fork as it continues to strike back to the north and west towards Union County. So if you're watching this in southwestern Union County over towards Jug Fork, Branyan, Ellistown, Fairfield, start thinking about getting in your right now as well. At this any ground truth as far as damage. So some good news there, although we do know there was some very, very low rotation, some rotating models there on the Skycam at Tupelo. So these things certainly have the potential to drop something very, very quickly.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Yeah, let's go back and just take a look at our Skycam imagery again from downtown Tupelo or Alpha Ventura camera. And you see the backside of the stuff, we have clouds, and that is up level cloud here. So we also have meteorologist Jacob Dickey out in the field too, and we're going to try to get to his feed as soon as it reestablishes itself. He's over in northern parts of where exactly is he at?
He's in just north of Millport.
Oh, he's in
Lamar
Millport,
County.
okay.
And actually, I'll tell you what, if we can, I know his feed's not live, but he's got it, it's frozen in a good spot, so can we take his feed and we'll show you what his view is just north of Millport. He's watching a circulation from State Highway 17, and now it's back up. So he's watching a lowering there too, and his feed's a little bit in and out, but again, a concerning look from his vantage point there, as well as he's watching a rotating lowering. Looks like it's rotating there, and it's got a good signature on radar. No warning in effect for Lamar County right now, but something to keep in mind is we've got that rotation, and we're keeping a very, very close eye on it there right now. So that's something we'll continue to watch. His feed's going to be a little bit in and out. There's not awesome cell coverage where he is, but obviously you can see that lowering there just over the tree line, and there is some indication of rotation on radar there. No formal tornado warning there, but we will continue to watch it very, very closely.
Okay, yeah, and so we actually have a little bit more movement there on his feed right there. So as you can see, it's very wet. It is stormy. Cloud bases are low. Let's go back to Lynx One, our Alpha Insurance camera, again in downtown Tupelo, and you can see the backside of the storm that had been moving on through. And I'm going to swap up cameras and go to Vernon, and our camera here in Vernon. And you can see south of where Jacob is right now, Jacob south of this vantage point, I should say. It's raining pretty good in the city of Vernon. Again, it's been ongoing here. We have some very heavy rain. This is our Alpha Insurance Skycam at Durham's. And you can see the wet weather unfolding here across western parts of Alabama. So Jacob's on this storm cell right here, not warned. And we'll continue to monitor that, and also monitor this whole mess of action going on up here in the northern part of our coverage area. We're finally beginning to see shear lag. It looks like we have the BTI on the system near Kirkville is at 6.7. This is the strongest rotating storm we've had in the entire duration of this event. And this is the best looking storm we've had for many, many months around here as far as the volume of parameters. So this rotation west of Kirksville is moving to the northwest, and it may be near Boonville by 148 if it manages to get there. At that point, moving towards the Pratt northeastern Lee County along County Road 2788. If you're along Highway 370 here between Kirksville and Baldwin, this is where the greatest amount of rotation is being sent by at this point. And let's go back and show you the shear rate product here. And you can see it's being maximized right here west of Kirkville. And this is a very ominous looking picture of data here, because this is really ramping on up. And it has some distinct rotation with a pretty good low-level velocity couplet, and it really looks like something's happening up here, Alex.
Keith, in fact, if we can switch over to Lynx One, if you want to cue me back in the camera, that'll be fine. We've been keeping a close eye on this, and I was watching just to see if we saw anything pop up in the correlation coefficient. It's going to be a little bit iffy here because we're in an area where there's inflow as well into this storm, and we just got the new radar scan, so we'll see if we still have it. But there is some lowered values popping up here. It's a little iffy. It's a little iffy right now. If you can put Lynx 2 back behind me instead of Lynx 1, there we go, because we are also an inflow, and so typically we can get some reduced values. It's not necessarily perfect here, but certainly a strong enough rotation where we would be concerned that this thing could touch down in a matter of moments if it's not already down. And like Keith said, it's crossing State Highway 370 right now towards County Road 1599. Continuing to move off to the north and west, and looks like we have a new warning as well. They're going to, or have we already had this one?
I think everything's already been issued that's been issued.
The Benton County.
The new one for Prentiss County?
Yes, excuse me, Prentiss County now under a warning as
well.
Yeah,
that goes until 2:15.
Okay, so that's going to just continue to track along, and so that's the continuation basically of this warning here. We've got Jacob Dickey's feed back live, and he's in Lamar County watching a lowering there. If we can go over to his feed right now, he's got a really good view of a lowering over in Lamar County. We'll keep an eye on these storms in West Alabama as well. No formal warning for that storm, but certainly some rotation showing up on radar, and he's got a pretty good view of that one there. That's north of Millport on State Highway 17, a little bit of a hook there, so we'll continue to watch that. Weather Service in Birmingham keeping a close eye on that storm, but the good news so far, West Alabama has not been placed under a warning yet. We hope it stays that way, but we'll have to wait and see. But certainly some big issues going on right now towards Lee County, Prentiss County, Etowah County, dealing with some with a couple of tornado warned cells. Keith?
Yeah, and so we've got these two, that's in Lamar County right there, a live feed from Jacob. But we've got these two very strong rotations going on in the northern part of our coverage area. As we come back over to Lynx 1, I can show you that we have the signs of rotation there west of Guntown, and also that's right along Highway 348. I was just up there the other day. and also just to the northwest of Kirkville. These two areas right here are where we have the greatest chance for seeing a tornado to develop right now. So here's the reflectivity. You can see right at the back side of it where we would expect, and our shear rate product really hones on in where the fastest moving wind is at this point in time. So both of these storm cells are moving back to the northwest at about 25, 30 miles per hour. I'm going to do a little, clear that off. I'm going to do a little storm track on both areas of rotation. The strongest area of rotation is the one over here north of Kirkville, and that is moving back to the northwest here. And this will be in Osborne Creek by 153. Again, it's 130. A long time to go. Frankstown by 148. If it holds together, Boonville 156. Now the other storm cell over here west of Guntown, this is also moving back to the northwest at about 25, 30 miles per hour. And this would be in the Graves community by 132, and then maybe Dumas by 2 o'clock, and that would be 30 minutes from now, and that's far southeastern Tippah County. So heads up to those of you watching in these areas in the northern part of Lee County, especially eastern parts of Union and Prentiss County. There's very heavy rain. I should reiterate this. There's very heavy rain out ahead of the circulation, so the storm coming in from the southeast, which is really only going to happen with the tropical system, it seems like. And we will have very heavy rain, and then on the back side of it is that area of rotation that could produce this tornado. So let's put on our skits here, and the strongest rotation is still associated with this one over here near Kirkville. And
Look like it's got a TDS on it now.
Okay.
If it's not, I'm getting
Okay.
cold here with the correlation coefficient and the ZDR also backed up here.
okay, yeah, so this is the blue, right, this blue area right here on the center of your screen here, which is essentially just jumping north of U.S. or State Highway 370 here along County Road 4550 in parts of Prentiss County. That is where we're concerned about there being a tornado, perhaps either on the ground right now or very recently, I should say. The BTI 6.6, that's a very high number relative to the situation. This is moving back to the northwest. So if you're watching in Frankstown, this could be in your area by 145, and the Blackland community by 153. So all these areas between Highway 370 and let's just say Blackland in Prentiss County, you need to be in your safe zone right now. This is going to stay probably east of Baldwin, but we are going to be watching out for that. So this is the correlation coefficient. This picks up on the potential for some debris. This is a regular radar product, and you can see that we do have these two distinct areas of let's just say rotation at the back side. And as we throw on our shear rate product, here's another item of interest.
Keith, they have continued the warning for Prentiss, and they have added the considerable damage tag to the warning based on the debris signature now. So the concern right now is that this may be a stronger tornado ongoing.
Yeah, so you know the environment's really set up for these weak, short-lived tornadoes, but occasionally you can get a strong tornado thrown into the mix, and it looks like this situation is that in areas of southeastern Prentiss. And one thing that we tend to talk about from time to time when we have a very strong signature of a tornado is this like octopus type looking thing with these little tentacles on it. And this just means there's some really fast moving wind, but it could really be rotating around. So you factor that in with the fact that there's probably some serious debris being picked up by what looks to be a pretty good indication for a tornado situation right now, right on the southeastern side of the storm as it's moving back to the northwest. So all signs point towards a very good bet that there is a tornado ongoing right now here in parts of extreme northeastern Lee County, but southern parts of Prentiss County, and it's nearing Highway 366 between Baldwin and Marietta right there. You need to be in your safe zone at this point. You need to be in your storm shelter a basement, an interior room away from windows. This is a dangerous situation. This is the strongest storm cell we have had in our coverage area today, and this could end up being the strongest tornado we get if we end up actually confirming this, that we will have out of this event. So heads up for you down here east and southeast of Frankstown, in northern parts of and far southern parts of Prentiss County. Jacob Dickey's on the phone. What do you got to report from Lamar County, Jacob? And but he is on the ground over in the Millport area. We will get over to him at some point. It looks like there is a distinct little hook apparent on that storm cell too. This is not warned for anything, but we are trying to effort his feed and his phone communications there. So we have a lot of stuff breaking right now.
I want to point out, Jacob has let us know that they're, based on his view, the stream's been in and out, so we didn't get a good view of it, but they're right around, it was about 3 or 4 minutes ago, he thinks there may have been a brief tornado touchdown north of Millport. So again, we've been talking about that cell for the past few minutes. It's got that good hook on it. Again, it's certainly a possibility we can get one touchdown really quickly and then lift back up. The hook on this, no formal tornado warning on it. This is going to northwest towards Kingville and Hidagy. So if you're watching this there, just keep that in mind. Again, we've got some poor cell service in this portion of the world. Lamar County, sort of a rural spots there in Lamar County. It has so we have some spotty cell service, but I do believe we have Jacob back on the phone now. Jacob, are you with us?
Yeah, I am north of Millport coming to Alabama 17 between Millport and Vernon. There's definitely a very quickly rotating wall cloud here. It's pulling in lots of moisture, pulling in lots of scud, and we can see the rain that are wrapping up. On 131, I may have had a brief touchdown. We saw the clouds connect to below the tree lines very briefly, so it could have been a brief, but it's been enough today.
Hey, let me just chime in real quick. Joey Barnes from our news department reporting that the Houston-Palestine area in northern parts of Itawamba County, where we've been dealing with this thing now rolling into Prentiss County, pretty good possibility that a tornado has moved through that area. And you can see it right there. It would be up here towards the Natchez Trace in that general vicinity. So that storm cell now is moving into parts of Prentiss County. And you need to be in your safe zone right now because this is a pretty good-looking event that is unfolding here. And there's the storm that we are just referencing here. So Jacob was over there in Lamar County. We're following that situation. This is the northern, more intense activity right now.
And Keith, just want to chime in here that we have a report now of some damage in Prentiss County at Highway 366 and County Road 5334, some debris and some small trees down there. So we'll continue to watch that. Also want to point out this cell moving through northwestern Lee County, continuing to move off to the northwest into portions of eastern Union County. Still got the hook on that there, approaching Highway 348. So this is going to be moving towards Graves, Corona, Alpine, Jericho, Halltown, Bethany, and Graham. If you're watching us there, you need to get in a safe place. Again, the movement off to the north and northwest there. We're going to put a storm track on this thing. Again, moving off to the north and northwest at a pretty good clip. It's popping Graves and Corona, a few other smaller communities there that I just called out. You need to get in your safe place. Still a pretty good circulation on this. Crossing Highway 348. Probably right now. If it's not, it'll be within a matter of seconds near the community of Blair. And again, moving off to the north and northwest towards Corona, Graves, Bethany, Jericho, Alpine. Get in your tornado safe place right now if you're in one of those locations. But again, we do have the confirmation of damage right now in Prentiss County with this cell sort of on the northeastern Lee, southwestern Prentiss County line to the west of Marietta. And this thing's going to be crossing Highway 366 actually right now, and it's already crossed 366 at this point and continuing to move off to the north and west. Keith?
Okay, yeah, this is the most intense activity we do have out here right now. Again, as we switch sources over here to our Lynx One system, you can see by far this is the strongest complex of activity we do have in our viewing area right now. And let's go back and throw on our shear rate product here. And I'm going to put a 30-minute lapse on this, and you can see how this stuff has been pulsing up and down here We may be finally seeing some signs of weakening here. This thing really pulsed up about 120 north of Manatachee, and then as it lifted back to the northwest into southern Prentiss, you can see some of these colors beginning to shrink in size and scope, and that's certainly good news. We lost our low-level circle there, that low-level lock signature, and that's great news because that was the first time that popped all day. Let's go back to our correlation coefficient, and this shows where we still have some debris lifted in the air, most likely, from what has already happened here. So this is a 30-minute loop of some of this activity, and you can see how it pulsed up near Kirkville and then probably produced that tornado. The tornado may have now lifted, and whatever debris is left is still flying around here and being detected by radar. So there could be some debris falling now down in and around the Frankstown area there, right along 45 here between Baldwin and Boonville here in Prentiss County. That continues to lift back to the northwest. And that's the one issue we're dealing with right now. And we are still looking at the little hook appendage over here west of Bethany, right there near the Alpine Committee, west of Baldwin, right there with storm number 2. So that area is an item of concern too at this point. So we do not have any debris signature with that. It looks like that could have not touched down. This one probably did touch down and produce some of this debris. So we see the greens and the blues showing on up. That is stuff that should not be flying in the sky. Stuff that probably was picked up from the ground and then thrust up into the air, and now it's flying up in the lower levels of the atmosphere. And we're scanning here. This is about 3,000 feet above the surface, so we're getting some debris. And actually, you know, let's do something different here. Let's stay with this. I'm going to go to our volumetric product. Alex, you keep an eye on the southern storm in Vernon and these other storm cells, but I'm going to go to our volumetric product here, and we will do a little analysis and see exactly how high some of this debris has actually been lifted here. If I can get this to work. I don't know if I'm going to get it to work right now, anyway, I'm going to hope to get this working. There we go. Okay, so let's do a vertical slice through here, and you can see that this storm cell, you know, in general, is about 30,000 feet. But let's put on our, this is our correlation coefficient. This is our debris signature right here. So we are looking at debris being detected in the air, probably about, you know, 10,000, maybe a little bit more feet in the air. And so that is some of that debris right here being lifted in the air here as the storm continues moving back to the northwest in Prentiss County. So that's one of the things that we can do with our Doppler radar technology these days. We can see not only the wind direction, the rain and all that stuff, but we can also see where some of this debris has been lifted, and you can see how it is clearly visible with our 3D slice here, again here in parts of Prentiss County. Joey Barnes has just walked into the studio, and let me go ahead and grab that little nugget of info. What do you got?
Okay, Keith. Law enforcement reporting a tornado touchdown on Highway 370 between Kirkville and Baldwin. And there is damage to a mobile home, so that's probably the debris signature that you're seeing there.
And that would be this area. Let me go back to our regular radar here. That would be, that tornado would have touched down somewhere just to the northwest of Kirkville, right there, right in the center of that screen.
And so I do not have any confirmation as to whether there are any injuries or not, but like I say, this is Etowah County Sheriff Chris Dickinson reporting tornado touchdown, very likely Highway 370 between Kirkville and Baldwin.
Okay, and that would have been about 125-ish or so when this tornado was ripping on through. This is the radar scan at 125, and so this is what most likely has happened. That storm cell moved on through, and now we've got that moved to the north, and it's still showing signs of rotation here as it approaches Boonville at this point. So let's go back to our velocity product. We're still looking at some broad circulation here on both of these storm cells. We have what looks to be a a little bit of a couplet over there near Lebanon, and also here just to the southeast of Boonville. So if you're watching in Boonville, please be in your storm shelter, because this storm has a history of producing what looks to be a tornado of some sort. We don't know how terribly strong it's been, but it is definitely a cause for concern. So you need to be in your safe zone right now if you are watching or listening to us in Boonville or areas near the Graham community there, northwest of Bethany, which is west and northwest of Baldwin. Those two storm cells are a cause for concern. And actually, the one near the Graham community is moving into southeastern parts of Tippah County. That's very hilly, rural terrain out there, so you may not be able to see hardly anything, especially with this big, huge rain shield coming in.
To point out, we got a picture that was sent in to us from Terry Tyler. This was taken. If we can take the Lynx 2 system full, please. Take it full, and so we get a full picture view here. There we go. You can see this was the rotating wall cloud as it moved near Saltillo. This is the storm that moved through Tupelo earlier, and this is a view that Terry Tyler got for us. Again, sort of a menacing look. Hard to tell if anything was down at the point he took this picture, but obviously we're dealing with these rotating cells. We've got some lowering, some wall clouds popping up as we go through. We'll pop the I'll pop the radar back on here, and we'll zoom back on in. Again, the picture you just saw was taken from this cell here moving through Union County now and ultimately moving off into Tippah County at this point as well. It was taken back when it was back here towards Saltillo. So that storm going to continue to move off to the north and west into southern Tippah County here within the next few minutes. It's in northeastern Union County near Graham, moving off to the north and west towards Dumas, along State Highway 370. So if you're watching us in Dumas or Ripley, you need to be in a safe place right now. And also, we're obviously watching this cell to the south of Boonville. And we'll pop the velocity products on again, still seeing some rotation in both of these. Tornado warning there goes in effect until 2:15 as well. So if you're watching us in Boonville, Jumpertown, need to get in a safe place as well. But obviously we're getting some pictures in at this point of some lowerings from some of these storms. We've been keeping an eye on the Lamar County cell. We had some interesting views from that a little bit earlier. Now it looks like those have sort of fallen apart. The cells in western Alabama don't really look all that impressive right now. The most impressive stuff in the northern portions of Mississippi at the moment. We're still seeing some heavy rain across the area, some heavy rain ongoing right now in Octavia County, Winston County, Choctaw County, back to the west of Highway 45 and south of Highway 82, and extending back through Calhoun County, Choctaw County, Pontotoc County, Lafayette County. No warnings in effect. Heavy rains and gusty winds. The warnings we do have are now north of I-22. We've got this one for Lee, Union, and Tippah counties. That goes until 2:50. And warning that to four portions of Prince County there. That goes until 2:15 as well. Continue to watch very closely. Indications of rotation, not quite impressive as they were 20 minutes ago, but still some cause for concern there. Something is, you notice that light blue circle has a correlation coefficient while it has spread out, and a lot of times indication of the touchdown of the tornado. I guarantee it. Starting to feel a little bit hopeful. Maybe it's not around this point, but it's touchdown at any moment, so we want people to take these seriously. Keith?
Indeed, and I want to show you the sheer swath of the last hour. You can see how these two storm cells perched up just southeast of Tupelo, just south of one moved through Tupelo, we saw that with Scott Cam, the other one is stronger too. Moved over there towards Manatee, northwestern Wamba County, and where you see the reds perked on top, this is the last hour. That's where it's likely that tornado really ramped on up, produces damage, and then as it crosses the Prentiss County line, the overall volume of shear rate in this has decreased. So let's just be hopeful that the storms, they're probably rotating to some extent, but not at this point producing a tornado, at least according to some of the data that we're looking at right now. But this has been a situation that really just kind of blew up over the last 30 minutes or so. And you can see, I think there's a data gap here in some of our data, but right here, this was at 1:34. This is when going at the greatest magnitude. I guess you could say, the system pulled farther to the northwest, probably debris still being lifted here. I'm hopeful that this is the case. We check out our storm relative velocity here. The overall couplet signature is not nearly as what we have had prior to this point in time. So this is we have 215 for this area in Prentiss County. Okay. That does include Boonville, and also for these other areas here west of Baldwin, and this goes up into south Tippah County, 215 too. So these two storm cells are both warned for rotation that still can produce 28 at any given time. Just to be on your safe side, if you're watching in Boonville, Jumpertown, Dry Creek Community, Dumas, Mitchell, even Ripley too, you want to exercise your severe weather action plan right now as the storm cells continue lifting back to the northwest. And it looks like the storms will probably continue in that general direction and eventually get back to the northwest into these areas in parts of Tippah County and Alcorn too. The next couple of minutes here, Alex.
Yeah, I just wanted to switch gears for just a second and talk about sort of the widespread impacts that we're feeling from Harvey. Again, we're doing some local warnings. Wind speeds are pretty significant across the area. Sustained over 20 miles an hour. Done some minor tree damage across the area. We've got some video from Rockville over at the Mississippi State University campus, a tree limb down there. We get rolling in the control room. There's a tree limb, and that's 40 cobblestone into a tree limb down there on campus. And again, we'll be dealing with stuff like this pretty much area-wide as we go through the day today, because those wind speeds are really fairly significant. 20, 30 miles an hour. We'll see gusts to 35, perhaps 40 miles an hour in spots as we go through the rest of the day. So certainly something to keep in mind that there are some impacts from this system outside of these tornado warnings, but obviously the concern for life-threatening weather is with these two tornado warnings we've got in effect right now, Keith. And the good news is they don't look quite as impressive as they did 20 or 30 minutes ago when they were moving through Tupelo and southern Wamba County, but still these the western here. This is moving towards Dumas in Tippah County right now. Going to be approaching Highway 370 there. We'll put the storm track on this and move it off to the north and west. I think move to the north and west. Mostly moving to the northwest about 35, 40 miles an hour. So towards Dumas, really here the next couple of minutes. Mitchell by about 2:02, Ripley by about 2:09, Wittentown by about 2:19, Faulkner 2:18. So if you hear your name called, it's a good idea to go ahead and get in a tornado safe place. The warning for this thing goes until 2:15, so we'll see if it gets extended further into Tippah County. We also have the tornado warning in effect for Itawamba County. This also goes until 2:15. If you're watching us in Boonville, some broad rotation going over you right now. This is going to be heading towards Jumpertown here within the next few minutes. Gaston, Jumpertown, Bynum, you need to be in your safe place right now. Lowest floor of your home, away from doors and windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. But we'll show you. We'll go back about 30 minutes ago here. And you can see these storms had nice hook echoes on them. We had a shear marker there on the cell that moved through Itawamba County, had a debris signature pop up on that cell, but now not looking necessarily quite as impressive. Heavy rain going across here. We're going to continue to watch some of these showers moving through Chickasaw County right now, in Rupp County, Clay County. The warnings in effect for these, and right now, no significantly strong rotations popping up, but we'll continue to keep an eye on these as the potential to again, we'll continue to watch this the evening, but right now we're down to 2 tornado warnings. Solely in Tippah County, and ultimately we got this and Prentiss County up there. This can hold together. It will move on into Alcorn County as well. So I think just updated the warning there in Prentiss County. on this.
But there in the middle of this, right there on the horizon, here again, this was about 1:30. The storm was in the northern part of it was getting ready to move into Prentiss County. Again, that was about 30 minutes ago. Some of the and as far as our ongoing severe weather threat. So we have these 2 tornado-warned storms in our area right now. We're about ready to slip just into probably 2:30. As we approach the top of the hour, that we all remain under a severe thunderstorm or a tornado watch rather for the area shaded in yellow. Tornado watch continues for areas the midpoint northward. We will be with you as we course of the event here. And unfortunately, we still have a window of opportunity here that carries through the basically babysitting the showers here. And there's more showers here that go back down here towards Louisville. Now, a lot of this down here in Louisville for just north of Red Bay, and then we're 2 hours to south of Pontotoc to just north of West Point. That's the other little arc that we are watching. So these 2 arcs to the north, and it takes some time with this
and rotate again. Reds popping up near some of the grays, probably right in there. Some very weak rotation showing up. Again, I don't think that's necessarily prompts a tornado warning. It's a very, very weak rotation, but again, we know based on the wind this area one is where the move on through. Also going to include 72 county there. So I don't want anybody traveling right now on Highway 45 through Alcorn County all the way back in through Highway 2. Again, that 45 rotation. Certainly could impact where you are in the parks. Of course, Brett might have to go ahead and get in a safe place. Highway 37 moving up to the north. And ultimately, stacked together. A lot of the air at this point has been worked over by all the showers. So works out though. Later on today, we'll see tornado watch. They're going in the these
And now from our, and you have the two Instagram here and all right, go back in a little bit. I'm going to show you and we had north of Boonville, one storm cell, really, but these two storm cells really ran up just south of Tupelo and have moved back to the north and red and green. They we've had a bit more right to Tupelo. We caught that with our outbound camera, and then the other one over here in northwestern Monmouth County, and this is the one that likely produced a tornado somewhere up in here. And look at some of the damage and debris up in there. And as we go on, and I'm going to go back to our regular not only to operate. I'm going to toss that radar and recalibrated. So sorry to throw you under the bus.
Frozen up here too.
Okay.
But we do have a nice wide view of what's going on right now. Anyway, if you want to keep me in front of this, I'll step off for just a second. We may see a peering desk here in a second, but if you can key me back in front of this picture, we'll sort of point some things out. If you're back here in the back, there we go. We're dealing with for two storm, the western storm, basically this is Tippah County issue moving through Tippah County. This again moving off to the north and west, and then we've got storm number 2 moving through County. So that's what we're dealing with right now. We've been watching again, sort of secondary band of showers right now. Showers fairly heavy rains, gusty winds, no spin up so far, no warning so far. So fingers crossed that that stays the same. As well as my rain back. So there, system froze, and this is for the northern half of the county. This is going to go to 45 and so towards Falk. If you're watching in Falk, you're now under this warning as well. Not to be traveling on State Highway 15, State Highway 2, State Highway 47. It's still back up. They have that to include morning, also at 45. As we'll go back to the rotational front if we can. And I think the systems are getting about as tired as we are, Keith. Getting a little bit better with it here, but again, we are dealing with a couple of storms. We had the line, so the rotation of one months. However, out to north and west towards Faulkner in county. So if you're watching this, you need to get this tornado take place right now. Rotation number 2, crossing the county line between and Alcorn County, where you see my turn it away and move it back behind the computer screen here. Rotation number 2, they're moving along the county line between Alcorn and First counties. This is just to the west of Highway 45. Having said that, nobody needs to be driving on Highway 45 right now. Again, this rotation, just like the other, moving off to the north and west, and ultimately places like Corinth, Conklin, Allentown, Biggersville, Theo, Gift. You need to be in a safe place right now as it continues to lift off to the north and northwest. Don't want anybody traveling on Highway 72 in Alcorn County or in County right now as these storms start to approach. If you're listening to us on the radio on 103.1 FM, and you're driving right now maybe from over towards Tishomingo County back towards Alcorn County on Highway 72, turn around and go the other way. You want to be driving in that direction. Same thing if you're driving back from Benton County.
Let's just go ahead and take Jacob's feed real quick. I just want to say that he's en route to intercept a storm near the Kelowna area. I'm recalibrating my radar system right now, and we may or may not lose his feed here. But he's out in the field, was over on Lamar County, now heading back west, looking like he's driving right past the radar site in Gatman there, so he is heading back to the west, and that's the radar we are relying on here in northeast Mississippi. So we are continuing to follow the situation. So he is now in between some of this activity. And let's pop up links 2 here. Links 1 is currently being recalibrated, but links 2, you can see that we do have these showers and storms ongoing. And Alex, can you clean up some of that ground clutter just a little bit and get rid of some of that noise if you could? These are the 2 storm cells up here that we've been tracking. One east of Ripley, the other one near Ducktown. These are now looking back to the northwest, and they will likely hold together and approach the Tennessee state line. And those warnings will continue because there's definitely low-level rotation going on. You can see those red and green areas together. That's where we have lower rotation going on with our radar imagery right now. And you can see some of that is just south of Highway 2, north of Dumas, and the other one is next to just west of Ramsey there, west of 45, right along 45. That's in another part of Alcorn. So those warnings will continue as we go throughout the next couple of minutes. And let's go ahead and put the radar reactivity data back on. You can see, and let's go ahead and animate this for the last 30 minutes or so and see how this is going to evolve here.
Start my second, unfortunately, but again, you've got those 2 rotations there moving off to the north and west, and you can see those. You've got rotation number 1. Maybe I'll be able to draw on this. I'm not sure. I'm not going to be able to. If you can follow me through their rotation number 1 approaching State Highway 4 now, Tippah County, and rotation number 2 now crossing the Alcorn, crossing the Prentiss County line into Alcorn County right now. So we will continue to watch those very, very closely. My system's a little frozen up at this point, but hopefully we can get that back up in just a moment. Keith, if you can let me know when your system's up and running, but
let's go
ahead
and take a full screen here, and this is from Tupelo, right?
Yes.
Okay, this is a video from Tupelo of the funnel/tornado. Jeremy Stevens sending us this in from the Tupelo area. You can see it looks almost like there's a little bit of a rope-like structure to this tornado or gustnado or whatever it was here on the north side of Tupelo. This is near Saltillo. I think this must be at It almost looks like it's at. Okay, it almost looks like it's at the Toyota dealership there on the north side of Tupelo, but maybe my bearings are a little bit off. We'll go ahead and replay this, and you can see that right in the middle of your screen there was at what looks to be some rotation there. This was earlier, about 1:30, of that possible tornado here as it was trying to develop here across the northern parts of the area. And so that's great video. Jeremy Stevens, correct, Amanda? Yeah, so appreciate that, that coming in via our Twitter feed. So that kind of correlates with what we've had.
Links 2 back.
Okay, good deal. Same story over here on Links 1. So let's come on back over here. We had a little bit of a data glitch there, so we're loading things back up, and we are still looking at these 2 tornado warnings now. That are ongoing across the northern part of our coverage area, 2 storms actually. And there's a lot of noise, a lot of stuff going on up here. Let me clean some of this stuff off, and you'll be able to see a little bit more closely. The 2 storm cells, the only warnings we have right now in northeast Mississippi that include our coverage area are now beginning to slip back to the north and northwest away from our coverage area. But if you're watching up here near Walnut Creek, or near here in Alcorn County, maybe you're listening to us on the radio with our simulcast coverage. These are the 2 storm cells that are still showing some rotation here, and you can see quite clearly if you're watching on TV. Just with the vehicle here right along State Highway 2 has a Silver Springs there, east of Ripley, and also over here we have Biggersville here west of 45. In Alcorn County. This is also an area that we are looking at for some possible rotation too. I think I have another data glitch over here. I don't know if we're just overtaxing the system or whatnot, but we have, let's go back over to Alex over on Links 1.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out we're watching another stuff. This is over in Chickasaw County, very close to this area of rotation we're watching here. Van Vliet, this is not currently prompting a tornado at the moment, but again, the Weather Service in Memphis watching this one very, very closely. It's near State Highway 32 right now. Again, the movement with this one is going to be similar to all the others. We'll clean out some of this ground clutter here if we can, just a little bit. And we'll lapse this for the past few minutes, and again, you can see that north-northwest movement. So again, if you're watching us over in northern Chickasaw County, southern Pontotoc County, something to keep in mind. And so, okay, and they did. They just went to for Chickasaw Pontotoc County.
That's the one that Jacob's going to try to intercept at some point.
Yeah, and we have this feed right now. Hopefully, we'll get a good look at this thing. But again, the area of concern there, crossing State Highway 32. Northwest towards the Pontotoc County line, towards Bedford, Algoma, ultimately Pontotoc. So watching us in Pontotoc, I want to go ahead and start thinking about getting into tornado safe place. Don't want anybody traveling, obviously, that's State Highway 32, State Highway 41, or State Highway 15 in Pontotoc right now. Again, this is radar indicator. We've got today a weaker circulation, but with these tropical systems, that kind of a circulation on radar can translate to already. A couple of videos of these spin tornadoes already. So we're going to have to continue to watch these. The storms that we've been really watching close to the past minute, heading towards Tennessee state line. This next wave that's moving in. We'll zoom out and you can see the secondary wave. So we sort of got. We'll put we got wave 2. Just like the first band did. So we're watching all these very closely. All these showers very close right now. As the secondary band will have the potential to produce a few step tornadoes. The hope is that the first band stabilizes the air enough that when the second band of showers is worked over here as much as out here. Pretty good looking circulation from the tip of Kansas north and get right now. So it's in there with heading into Faulkner within a matter of minutes. So if you're watching this area, you need to get the tornado safe place. We take across don't want yes, they have we're down to tip up and this point now moving towards Faulkner at the moment. And again, you see those bright greens next to the grays. Highway 15 to Faulkner. So you know, so if you're thinking Faulkner, I want you to get in a safe place to cross Highway 15. Where those two highways intersect, northwest towards Highway 72, towards the Tennessee line. Also seeing some Tennessee now. See if we can flip back over here to the Columbus next and look now in Norfolk County. Our own Jacob Dickey's en route to try and get a view of this thing. Circulation there, not what we've seen all day, but circling that circulation north of I-32 at this point, and moving to the north and west towards this one as well eventually, and ultimately continuing, if it can hold itself together, over towards Beckbrook in Pontotoc County. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll zoom further out, not seeing anything else that stands out. Right now, across the area.
The high-resolution visible satellite imagery of the new GO-16 project, and you can see what's actually going on here across the we have the center of the residence of Harvard Greenville, and here in West we are squeezing out a little bit of additional sunshine. We are squeezing in some additional directional wind shear and speed shear here. We're thinking about enhancing some of these storms to we're not getting a lot of thunder lightning. We're getting some good levels. And on the east and northeastern side of that center, exactly where we live right now, the best chance for tornadoes. And this is typical with a tropical system when it comes ashore. The northeastern quadrant is where we would expect those to be activity. So that's a good overview of the scenario. You can see the tornado watch, or the tornado warning polygons popping out there. Throughout the last couple of years. Notice how they are basically all clustered here in North Mississippi, and we have yet to have an official warning over to West Alabama. We've had some interesting looking we have had all the official warnings in North Mississippi and parts of Southwest Tennessee. And as we go through the course of the afternoon, I go to our national radar project here, and as we go throughout the course of the afternoon, the better instability, the better tornado potential is going to continue to live to our northeast. We still have a tornado watch in effect for our area for another 6 hours. So 8 o'clock, this is going to go down as one of the longer type tornado watches you'll ever get, about 8 hours. It's going to be a full day. But as we go out the late afternoon and get into the other side of Harvey, the other side, just the showery side, swirl back on in and push all of these unstable storms and shower cells back to the northeast. So that's the picture of what's going on here across our area this afternoon. And we have the line isolated little blotches, what we had earlier, about so nothing else, there could be some gusty breezes in this meteorologists dig live Amory, kind of pulling things down here. So they'll look at Amory. Again, he's trying to march back to the west and try to intercept some of the stuff over in northern parts of, say, Chickasaw County and the southern county. Right now, he's been out and he's over earlier and over there converted at this point, but he saw a very distinct lowering rate with that storm cell earlier, and now he's en route back to the west. He's been all over. He's been down south, out east, up north, and now he's heading back to the west here. Again, a live view. Okay, he's in Amory there on US 278. So he's going to hope to intercept some of this stuff. He is essentially trying to intercept this activity near Okolona, and the activity near Okolona continues to show signs of not necessarily near Okolona, but this activity right along the Chickasaw County line and the Pontotoc County line right here, southeast of the Goodford community. This is where we probably have the best potential for something at this given point. As we check out our storm, there you go. Check out our correlation coefficient, nothing too sinister there yet, so that's certainly good news. As we go back to our shear rate, you can see right there, mixed in with all that, that's where the greatest amount of fast-moving wind is at this point in time. So this is the one storm that we are most concerned about in our coverage area, because the other storm cells are now slipping out of our coverage area into the Memphis TV market, north of where really drops off. And, but if you're watching on TV, obviously you know some folks up here near north of Ripley, north of Walnut Creek, or listen to the radio here between Walnut Creek and the state line of Tennessee. This is also the distinct area where we have been watching out for. You can see it right there, and this is looking back to the northwest, but that's going to clear our area very, very soon. And let's go back to our shear rate here, and you can see it right there. So we have these two storm cells we're watching out for, and the big picture shows we have additional storm cells that go back down to the southwest. This line goes from Houston down into parts of Tibaha County. Now, where I say this, I think at this point we only need to say that if you are watching the other stuff we will continue to watch for the rest of the afternoon, Alex.
Yeah, Keith, I just wanted to point out, not anything behind me on the radar, but we got a report of some trees Creek so that was the storm moved through Prentiss County earlier, caused some damage there. Obviously, we had some reports of some tornadoes there a bit earlier. We do have that tornado warning, as you were mentioning, over in Tippah County, that area of circulation. We talked about it was right now, right over the continuing to move off the north, and our signal starts to really pop off here, but over towards Tiplersville, Challenge, back towards Mount Moran, Tennessee state line. If you're watching us, listening to us over there, you want to get into a safe place. Still have that rotation, though. Moved out of Chickasaw County, now into County. Ultimately, the track of this thing, northwest, maybe just safe place. Same goes for Ecru. If you're watching this in Ecru, you want to be in a safe place. That tornado warning until 3 o'clock. Okay, so we got a new one there, and that's going to be this circulation to the east of Iuka. There goes the warning polygon pop. So again, we've got that little hook, that circulation is now crossing Highway 72 east of Iuka, south east of Iuka right now. Moving to Tennessee pretty quickly as well. But if you're towards Oldham, Blind Crossing, Pinedale, you want to get in a safe place. If you're in Iuka, you want to get in a safe place as well. Of course, of least progressors, especially if you're on the eastern side of town in Iuka, you want to get in a safe place. That tornado warning also going until 3 o'clock, and we'll pop the storm track on this one. And again, these storms moving typically about 30 to 40 miles an hour. Bacon Springs 235, Cooks Landing 241, Short at 243, Crossroads at 243, High Point at 246, Pine Flat at 249. But ultimately, this thing going to be moving into Tennessee, might even clip the northwestern corner of Alabama where it dips sort of back into Tennessee there. Tishomingo County sort of dents in just a little bit to the left. So if you happen to be watching us or know someone out there that lives in that northwestern corner of Alabama, west of Waterloo, might want to give them a call and let them know that's heading their way as well. But again, we've got that cell in Tishomingo County, we've got the cell in Tippah County, we've got the cell in Pontotoc County. By the way, the Weather Service has clipped Union County, Chickasaw County, I apologize, out of that warning. So now just a Pontotoc County warning. That goes until 3 o'clock this afternoon as well. So at least about 30 more minutes of this as we go through the rest of the afternoon. But again, we'll be here through the rest of the afternoon and evening monitoring this stuff. At this point, we'll pop on the shear rate, clean some of the noise off. Again, you see that little brighter green showing up there south of Highway 41 near County Road 89. That is the area of concern now moving through Pontotoc County, the area of circulation in Tippah County. Now moving near Faulkner. It's near Faulkner, moving towards Tiplersville and off to the north. That's storm number 2. And storm number 3 in Tishomingo County is just on the eastern side of Iuka. But I want to point out we're pretty far away from the radar, so things can be a little displaced here. So if you're watching us in Iuka, you want to be in a safe place. Same thing goes for Oldham, Blythe Crossing, Pinedale. You need to be in your safe place right now. Bacon Springs, same thing. Doski, same thing. That warning also going until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Keith, we do have a couple of reports of tornadoes. We had the one that we got the video in of. That was just north of Tupelo. And we've got the report now in Southern Prentice County of the damage there. And potentially maybe another touchdown near Boonville. We know there's some damage there. The Weather Service will have to go out and take a look at that to determine exactly what happened over there. But do want to point out, take a look here, just looking at a wider view. Over in Chickasaw County, this little shower starting to spin up. This is near Oklahoma. No warning for this, but something we'll have to watch pretty closely here for the next few months. Crossing Highway 32 right now, the same movement here north. This is going to be pretty close to where the other storm was, maybe just a tick or two to the east of it. But again, obviously,
a little bit of rotation that I observed earlier, moving back to the north. So some of these areas that have been impacted already by storms, including Enville, maybe by 255. It looks like most of the storm may be staying west or staying east of Pontotoc. This little ominous looking page on this one storm cell near Okolona, and we just have these small little bits of activity that will really spin up right now. North, so head up any location north of Okolona on Highway 245 there. Be aware that that's another item of interest. Not officially warned, but it is an item of concern. And right now we have 3 tornado warnings in northeast Mississippi, and 2 of which will be getting out of our coverage area pretty soon. The ones in County, the one over in Tippah County. And these other storm cells will go back down to the southwest, even into Oktibbeha County. And heaven help us, we think more, but I certainly hope that this last arc here in Starkville and Oktibbeha County is going to be the last of the round of storms we have to have potential. All right, so here's another live look with our off-interest camera in downtown Tupelo. And you can still see how those breezes are coming in now, more so towards the southwest. And so when they come back into Tupelo right now, this breeze is showers that make it a little bit of extra, pizzazz with them to give us some showers that actually rotate and perhaps produce a tornado. Let's do a little sky cam tour as long as we're at it here right now. Look at Columbus. You can see we have our camera looking back to the northeast. We probably should pan it back around to the west a little bit and see that activity as it comes back on in from Starkville. But notice how there's some low clouds, a lot of low clouds moving pretty fast from south to north. But there's also been some clearing a little bit in our eastern counties. You can see a little bit of blue sky. Now we're looking back to the west towards Starkville and Oktibbeha County, where we have some of that additional shower activity and hopefully the last round of shower activity as we go throughout the course of the afternoon, at least the last arc of showers that could produce some rotating thunderstorms. Now, as we showed you before, we probably have not too much happening over here in Vernon, and that's certainly good news. The heaviest rain has pushed to your east and north, but we have had some activity over into West Alabama as well. So at this point, we're doing okay there. Let's go back to our radar product here, and we have a couple of warnings we're watching out for. I do want to go back and show you that over the last hour, and I'm going to animate this. We're going to go to our shear swath. And again, this just tells the story. I'm going to go back and clear out some of this. We're going to go back about 3 hours. And you'll be able to see how this stuff is animated in time, going back the last couple of hours here. Just the last hour. This product only goes back an hour. So let's see, it's 2:34. About 1:30. We had the tornado event ongoing there in northwestern Wamba County, and those storm cells are still with us. Those exact same storm cells are still with us. One is still warned. The one over here north of Faulkner, this is still warned. There's still some rotation with this storm cell. I'm going to swap on the Memphis radar stuff, and it is not as clear. Go back to Columbus, but there's still some subtle little spin right up here. North of Faulkner. Again, that's north of Ripley. This is moving away from our area. So those storm cells started at about 1 o'clock southeast of Tupelo. And now we still have some additional activity we're watching out for with this other line that stretches from Pontotoc down to north of Okolona. There's these little cells that just look like little mini supercells, these little kidney beans type shapes. And those can turn up at any given time. We're basically sitting here waiting and watching and wondering if any of this will go. And you can see this, there's a line quite clearly associated with sort of boundary here, associated with this band associated with the remnant of Harvey. This thing is lifting back to the northwest. These individual storm cells, they kick off and rotate here. So again, it's 2:35. We're still watching out for some torrential rainfall here. Now moving back into the Houston area. Let's come back in and inspect and see, do we have anything showing up as far as rotation here? Nothing much at this point. Looking to the Houston area. It's just a good dose of very, very big showers. And that's
the most impressive one moving toward the Tennessee state line right now. Excuse me. So we're going to talk velocity back on. This one moving to northern Tippah County right now, north of Faulkner, approaching Highway 72 at this point. Memphis radar get a better view of this, and we do get a little bit better moving to the northwest toward Mount Morale and Brownsville, 25 traveling on Highway 62 there. We also have this storm. We'll switch back over to the Columbus radar site to get a better view of the storm over in Tishomingo County. This is now north of the city of Iuka. If you're watching Iuka, you are all clear. You're not all clear. Crossroads, Cook, Landing, Short, High Point, Pine Flat. If you get in your tornado safe place right now, lowest floor of your home, away from doors and windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as humanly possible with that storm. And the third storm we're watching, as you were just talking about, Keith, is this storm moving through Pontotoc County right now. Does not look as impressive as it once did, but still some broad rotation there, some potential to drop a brief spin-up tornado that is the less impressive, but still, again, we have the potential for a brief spin-up tornado. And again, as you said, we're watching this line here, and you notice that really from about Pontotoc southwest all the way down back towards the northwestern corner of Monroe County there, we get this little gray line intersecting with the red. So some boundary going on right there. And we may have some area where the rotation starts to pick up a little bit more in that line. We're going to have to watch that very closely. Something probably going on there as far as the boundary is concerned. We're keeping an eye on this little still now moving to southern Lee County. A warning with that, but again, something we'll just keep an eye on. Looks like the rain over at Houston, just some downpours. Noticed any rotation popping up there. West Alabama has gotten pretty quiet, though. Interestingly enough, just a little bit of light shower activity over eastern Fayette County, and then Lamar area, to Marion County, so Hamilton tornado affected decline. We'll continue to watch that, and still in western Alabama, the atmosphere is still so we'll have to watch these showers continue to in West Alabama to see if anything gets going. So far, for some reason, those over Mississippi right now. Again, this is probably now rapidly crosses that state line is a problem at that point. We have issues with you had a storm now moving through Pontotoc County. Again, if you're in Pontotoc, go ahead and get because again, could spin up in the radar. Basically, the there's wind more hours here, and the chance for isolated windows here. So we for hours we can that basically
potential here. You can see this line of fast-moving wind coming in from the south, and that's with this tropical showers, band of showers coming out. And any of this could produce a spin-up type tornado as we go throughout the course of the afternoon. This is how slow this is moving. And
warning for two county goes. We're down to one warning for Tishomingo County.
okay, so right now we basically have one warning we're concerned about is way up here in the far northeastern part of the River, north of Burnsville, north of Paducah. This is essentially on the Tennessee state line right now, and the Alabama state line too there, along Pickwick Lake here, in far northeastern parts of Mississippi. So there's still up here, and it should be concern of Tishomingo County, south of the High Point community, right along Highway 25. This is where we have the best spin-up potential in the coverage area, although it's almost nebulous at this point. Any of these showers could rotate real quickly, but right now this is the only warning we have, and because of that feature right there, and this activity is moving back to the northwest at about 30 miles per hour or so. So I'm going to do another little storm track on that, and that's going to take it into parts of Tennessee here, past the High Point community at 250, and then Pine Flat at 254, and then eventually into Tennessee as it continues moving back to the northwest. So if you have some interest up here across far northern Tishomingo County, that is the situation. This tornado warning goes until 3 o'clock. We're going to stay with you here at least until 3 and see how this all plays out. But that is the only tornado warning we have in our coverage area at this point. And Luke, our camera operator here, let me know if they still have that video queued up from the Toyota dealership in Tupelo from earlier. That was some video we had. Let's go back to that video real quick from the control room if we can. And this is going to be, this was around 1:30 or so, just before